Don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kicking It Back with Matt. Tonight we got my boys John and Henry with us. What's going on, fellas?
Hola.
How you doing, man?
Good. So I know backstage we were talking about it, but Henry, you saw the highlights. Bodo glimped.
Bodo Glimt. Yeah, dude. That was
Tell me.
good team. Dude, they put a lot of pressure on. Lazio looked a little overwhelmed. And I don't blame the turf on it at all. It was actually really, really good to see such a small team actually win against Lazio, such a classic, historic club. And then honestly getting not just one, but 2 goals and clean. It was awesome. That was awesome.
First leg, right?
Yeah. And huge advantage for them. I hope they go all out. I wouldn't mind if they win it. Like, I wouldn't mind it at all if they could, but they got some tough opponents, that's for sure, ahead of them if they do.
I've never even heard of that club.
Yeah, it's small. It's a small club. When I was watching the stadium size, it's not that big. But the fans showed up. So that was actually really, really cool. And in the cold, like apparently it was freezing today, and they still showed up. I was like, that is an awesome fan base. Especially how you said, John, it's dark most of the year.
Yeah, Matt, I found out about it in the pregame, and I was like, wait, is this real? Because it was talking about the temperature difference. It was like 78 where Lazio was coming from in Italy, and then I believe it's 37 up where this match was. And the team exists above the Arctic Circle. They have like 2 months out of the year where they're in total darkness. Like, it sounds like it's out of a movie, but no, this is what these tournaments are about. Like, this is where the romance of the sport is. I love this.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun story, right? When they do the second leg back in Italy.
Absolutely, because I think, I mean, to Henry's point, they played well. Like, they didn't look overwhelmed by the stage, and I think part of that was having the first leg in front of their home fans, and everyone had to be up for this moment. I kind of do worry that going to Italy and having a little bit of pressure on them now with the lead, can they do it? Or, is this going to be a team that we see just really like grinds down and bites down on it and gets the result? And like Henry said, the goals weren't flukes. Those were deserved goals. So definitely going to be looking forward to following this storyline.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that next week.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised about the turf, because when I went over when I was a teenager and played, we played in the Copenhagen Cup. We played on grass there, but interestingly enough, in Sweden, when we played in the Gothia Cup, I played on like almost like was like a clay tennis court.
Oh.
That we played on, and we asked them, we said, what's going on with it? And they're like, because we get such bad weather all the time. It's impossible to like maintain a lot of grass fields. So like picture like the US Open, right? For tennis, and they have all those outside courts, and Wimbledon, they got all those outside. That's kind of what they did, because the Gothia Cup, it's the largest youth competition in the world. There's teams from all over the place that went and played. I remember we played in, I don't even know what the stadium would be called now, but in Gothenburg, and we played the U17 national Nigerian team.
Oh.
And we lost 10-0 in a 50-minute match.
Wow.
that's
And it can't. It really, if I can recall, I'm 16 at the time. I want to say like 7 or 8 out of the goals were set pieces and corner kicks
Wow.
because they could just rise above all of us and just out jump us. And then the speed, we just couldn't. It was crazy. That it was blitzkrieg. But yeah,
yeah.
like, this is gonna be fun.
Hmm.
That's one of those things. Like you realize there really are levels to the game when you see some of these, like the step up in competition. And that's what makes it really fun when you see teams and players that rise through the ranks rapidly. It's like, how did you go this undiscovered for so long? And now you get a chance to show what you got and you take it. And I think that's what we're seeing here with, some of these smaller teams that are making runs.
What was it last year? Was it in, Young Boys, right?
Young
That had a
boys.
nice good
Hmm.
good run. I was cheering for them on too. I was like, all right, good for you. Like that's exactly what I want to see.
You gotta love some dark horse
I've
romance.
seen that team before.
Young
Young
Boys.
boys. Like
Historically, yes.
literally, I just stumbled upon this before we got on here.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh man, I'm like, we got to talk about this. And then you guys, saw some of it and watched some of it. So that's really cool. So speaking of the underdogs, Wrexham.
Mm.
Ooh, let's. We are so close to seeing an absolutely. I mean, I know that it's already a Hollywood story and it's going to have a movie made just because of the people who are involved, but I mean, it really is a Hollywood story. It's unbelievable to secure two automatic promotions that quickly, coming out of the National League like that, and doing it convincingly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know Birmingham ran away with the league this year, and they look like they're going to go on and compete at the higher end of the next level in the championship. But I mean, Wrexham looks like they're right there. I do worry for them when they do get promoted because now you're playing with the people with real money. So they're going to have to go out and buy 5 or 6 players to allow them to compete and not just bounce right back down. But you gotta love this story.
The story it's phenomenal. Like you can't make it up.
You really can't. And I saw something the other day where when it was with, and I forget his name, but the guy that Rob and Ryan brought in to help them identify which club to buy. Um, he was explaining that their original vision was to essentially restore the club and then give it back to the town, just in better shape. But now because they're having this rise, they're realizing there's so much more they can do with it and so much more good they can bring to the town by rising it up above the league that they're like, they're expanding their operation beyond what originally was just like, hey, this is going to be a fun little project.
Isn't that like next in the plan for them too? Is expansion for their stadium, right?
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep, another stadium expansion, training ground, and I think they're
They'll
setting up some type of like a fan area that's going to bring in some stores front and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, they're doing a lot of good work, and you hear about these other people going out and buying teams, and you hope that they're doing it for similar reasons and not just getting involved trying to grab the profit. Because I do believe that while Rob and Ryan are probably yes in it to make money, they are doing good, and I do believe we see that on the show how much the town appreciates them. And I think even the town was shocked a little bit by how much they gave back.
Yeah, to me, they show that they care. Just from the investment that they've put into the team in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really get into a lot of details, but they have dropped numbers on what they're spending to buy players.
And I mean, even the first season when they had to they had to refurbish the field.
Yeah.
I mean, that was I think it was like $250,000 investment right off the bat. They weren't ready for.
I think that's that joke that both Rob and Ryan were like, I never knew how much grass actually cost.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I didn't know how much grass really costs. Like, it's expensive, man. It's
Yep.
expensive.
Yeah, I mean, and think about it. Like, let's just say they get promoted, right? Which I don't know about the two of you. I think they are going to get automatic promotion within the next 5 games. Um, that stadium's going to have to expand, right? Because if you play in the EPL, let's say that next year they make the whole story come true and win promotion up to the Premier League, you got to have a 10,000 seat stadium
Oh yeah,
to
And
play.
what are
And
they at now?
I
that
think
I don't know.
I think they're at like 5,600.
Oh wow. I thought, because I know the initial plans that were submitted, I know that they're in phases, but the plan was to get it up to the qualifications for
Yeah.
the EPL.
Yeah,
But I also
TV.
don't think they expected to do it in 3 or 4 years. I thought they were thinking we got 10 years to figure this out.
Yeah, they'll need like an entertainment room, all that stuff like that. Cameras, like a
But
room
like,
for all the cameras and stuff like that. Yeah, there's
well,
gonna be.
you got to be able to have and support the VAR.
Oh yeah.
Coming up now, the semi-automated offside. Your locker rooms have to be up to a certain code. Um, Because yeah, you see this when some of the smaller teams come up, they can't go and spend on players to stay up because they have to bring their facilities up to standard.
Luton Town.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example, which I still think that's got to be the greatest stadium in England, where you're walking through someone's garden to get to your seats.
Yeah.
That is
Crazy,
that's
right?
so amazing.
Or the stairway that you see that actually cuts through some people's houses and they go in, you're like,
Hmm.
what is that? That is really cool.
So the good thing I think with Wrexham though is, I mean, they might have to temporarily go somewhere else, right? If
Hmm.
let's say the Cinderella story happens, but at least they have the resources to get this stuff done quick.
Hmm.
Yeah, I believe for them it's going to be probably really they need to also because it is England. So if your team is doing good, your home team, most likely people will go back home. Transit over there is a lot easier and better than ours. So I would not expect a lot of people from all around trying to go back home and catch a game. Or like any of us, it's most of those games now have a huge
I was gonna say the
tourist.
tourist.
Yeah, the tourists. And so, like, who would not want to go? And I think Wrexham said too, they love the tourists that come in because they spend money and they eat the
Well, and that's
food.
the thing. It brings the economy of the town up, but to support, if you can only bring in 6,000 people a game, obviously if you can bring in another 10,000, you want that, which is great for the town because now the town gets to build to accommodate another 10,000 on match day,
Hmm.
and everyone wins. And I saw something. The initial investment was something like 2.5 or $3 million. The club is now estimated to be worth around 100 million. So what I hope and also have a little bit of fear for with Wrexham is that Rob and Ryan bring in additional investors to bring in more money to allow them to do these things as quickly as they need to for how quickly they're growing. But it's got to be the right people, because if they're not there for the same reasons that Rob and Ryan seem to be there, and to keep the town included, and then they come in for a money grab, it could ruin the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you this, because in my head, I'm not thinking that they're going to need necessarily investors, because if they pull this off and do it, and it would be what, 4 years in a row
Hmm.
Hmm.
win promote. What company is not going to want to sponsor that club?
I wouldn't see anyone not wanting to, but I do agree with John is that you don't want to lose basically like the home feel of the team. Like it's ours, it's mine. It's like this is my club instead of making it too corporate as like we see with United right now. What was the gentleman 65 years old? They kicked him out of his seat. Are you kidding me? He's had
Yeah.
the seat for over 50 years. And that's the
I'm
kind of
just
stuff you don't
I'm
want.
just saying that they can bring in enough money to do all the improvements, construction, upgrade through sponsorships, not
Oh,
necessarily have to bring in additional investors.
Well, you got to think, because that sponsorship money is probably originally thought to be spent on players and staff and things like that. Because, like we said, they're going to have to improve their squad as well. So if you're trying to bring in, you know, 30, $50 million worth of players, and now you have to do $100 million revamp on your stadium, the quick way to do that would be investors. But yes, you could, you cut your transfer budget a little bit. You try to just hang around in the championship for 2 or 3 years to make that money and then do the investment wouldn't be the worst way to do it. But to complete the fairy tale, I feel like they need that little, when you're playing FIFA and you get to use the little cheat token financial boost and you just get
Mhm.
an instant 100 million.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think that they're gonna slip up. You know what I mean? I think they're going to continue to make the right decisions. They'll identify and bring in the right people. I mean, heck, they bought that team down
Yeah,
in
it's
And
South America, right?
hmm
yeah,
I think Ryan has shown he's a smart enough investor that they do bring the right people in. I mean, he's got his hand in everything,
Yeah, everything.
and so he's got a good team with him. So that's definitely the thing. And I think Rob is the true passion behind it. I don't think he'll let them go astray.
no,
And
no.
I mean, you everyone's got to be hoping they pull it off, right?
Mhm.
I I don't know if they. I think it's going to take them a couple of years at the next level.
But
I
that might
could,
actually help them, though. That might actually help them
Yeah,
financially too.
I think
yes,
it would. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
take 2 or 3 years to really build it up, get everything situated with the stadium, and then go for it. But I mean, that's a tough ask
hmm
it
to
is.
go
But
from this league to the
I mean, they were in
champion.
the National League not that long ago.
Yeah,
yeah. And the
But I mean,
championship is just brutal. I mean, like, man, it can be brutal.
it's a
So
that's a
John,
different league.
so John's not also wrong there too, because players have to be a huge investment because you're playing a lot of games, a lot.
Hmm.
And then next thing you know, you're worrying about like fatigue and towards the end of the season. So I don't blame them if they're like, oh, what are we going to do with all this money? It's like stadium or players. That's a huge question. That is a huge question.
Although the romantic in me just has this vision of the last day of the season, they get sixth place, work their way into the playoffs, win the playoffs, and go to the Premier League. That would just be. I mean, I'd watch that movie on repeat.
yeah. I mean, I really hope for it. I just think practically, it's just that's
It's
too
such a
much of
long
an
shot.
ask.
They have a lot of obstacles, but if they keep on growing slowly and I think also like just doing well in this league and then going in the championship and having again, ticket sales are going to be huge. They're going to need that like crazy. And I think expansion is probably more in mind because you can fit more people, have more seats, have more concessions, people buy like all the kind of stuff that you want. And then also, like John said before, tourism for the city. Who's not going to say no to that? Who's not? They're going to love it, especially if they have a whole line of pubs. Like, John, we always hear it all the time. The line of pubs to go to the stadiums are always packed to the brim.
Well, the pub that's always on the show now, they're saying like he's got people coming in just to have a pint with him. He's like,
Yeah.
it's great. I'm a celebrity, but also they bought a pint. That's
Yeah.
business.
And I hear the players are really nice too. Like they just, if anybody stops them, say hi, they take pictures. They're super nice. I've heard that too. It's just like, all right, cool.
Hmm.
You need that right now, especially if you want the interaction of the fan base to come in and just really feel engaged in like your club. Or they feel like
It,
it's part of theirs.
it truly cements the identity of the team, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's gnarly, gnarly.
Yeah, it's that small town feel, right, with the little engine that could, and everybody thought that this was a hoax, right? When those two bought the team, and they're like, "Oh, this is just a money grab. Like they're just looking to spread their money and invest other places." And this is just it's turned into a phenomenon.
Yeah. I mean, what I heard is like everyone's like, "Oh, it's just a TV show." I'm like, "Do you know how hard it is to run a club? It's insanely hard. It's insanely hard. It's not a joke, man. No one takes that on. It's like, I want to do this as a TV show. This is not something you watch on Bravo. This is a real like situations where like, all right, we can't buy this player. We just can't. We don't have the money for it. That there's situations that are going to come up like that.
It would be a TV show if it was Man U, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. But when you're doing this on a team that was in the National League,
Mhm.
come on.
Yeah. I
We
think
gotta be fair here.
Yeah, I think we're all rooting for them. I just really want them to succeed, like really do, and make the smart choices. Don't make dumb ones that past clubs has made. investing in the wrong stuff or just not putting it back into the club properly. Just don't do
Well,
that.
it's so far they haven't.
No,
Mhm.
that's why I feel they're going in a good direction. Take your time. Take your time.
3 years in a row winning promotion and winning automatic promotion.
Hmm. I think it's also what we heard, John. I think it also helped a little bit of the fan base of footy get a little bit more because people are like, it's on
Oh yeah,
Hulu and FX, and they're like, what is this whole soccer thing? I'm like, you guys deal with them like, dude, it's drama every week, man. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's horrible.
Well, so
Mhm.
my boss AJ, who founded Bleacher Brothers, that's how he stumbled upon footy.
Uh,
Was the Wrexham documentary.
oh,
Yeah.
say there you go. There
And
you
then he
go.
was like,
One of our own.
I gotta get more into this. So then I started going on his show that turned into this show. Now we're credentialed at Inter Miami, and one of my often guests, like you guys, Nick, he's down there doing all the games, doing write ups. So he's got a little recap on Tuesday nights at 6 on Bleacher Brothers just for Inter Miami because he's covering them.
Inter Miami.
And just to let you boys know, in July, I will be at the Sports Illustrated Arena.
Yeah.
Yes.
as
Nice.
as
Oh,
as a credentialed.
Yeah, actually, our friend got that too recently. He got his
that's
credentials. It's
that's
awesome.
gonna be amazing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Have fun. Have fun.
yeah,
He enjoys it. He enjoys it a lot. So I hope you enjoy too. I think you will.
We'll
yeah.
definitely have to link up before that game.
Oh yeah,
Oh
definitely
yeah.
meet us before
Well,
that,
because I
please.
was saying, like when Messi first came, the tickets on StubHub, I was seeing like 450 for the
Mhm.
nosebleeds.
We have a great club though. We have a really great club. We didn't pay any of
So
that.
I will say, and I will not name names, but friends of ours with season tickets were able to sell their tickets for that game and make their money back for the entire season ticket.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was outrageous, but I gotta say, the atmosphere when Messi comes to town. I mean, he's worth the price of admission. I mean, we saw it again this week. He's inevitable. He
Oh,
just
remember the city of
every
Newark that
single
day?
time he performs.
Remember it's just nothing but like Messi and Barcelona stuff and all of Newark. We're like, oh man, geez, we are literally outnumbered here today.
Hmm.
Well, so let's table that for a minute because John, I want to rewind back to something you said like 10 minutes ago that I'm still trying to understand and figure out how this thing is going to work. But the semi-automated VAR.
Ah,
Can you
so
explain it? Because I still can't understand everything I'm reading about it. I still can't understand.
the way I'm understanding it is there are essentially sensors in the ball and I believe, I don't know if it's LiDAR is the detection system. It uses lasers and essentially scans the entire field and tracks where everything is. And with that, it 3D images the whole field. And whenever there's a questionable call, they can go back to that moment. It has the rendering and it draws the lines every single time for us, as opposed to having to rely on the camera, which we know is not always square to the ball, and the human error of applying the lines. So it's supposed to essentially automate that with technology instead of relying on a person. Now, where it gets a little fuzzy is, and I even just said it, how exactly does it all piece together? How do the sensors work? How does it know where everyone is? How accurate is it? But I believe it's based on the Hawkeye. I think it's the system they use in tennis,
Yeah, that's
and
actually
they've been using that for, I mean, as long as I've been watching tennis, and I don't think I'm that young, so it's been around for a minute. Um, the tennis system seems to work great. No one questions it anymore. I think it's going to be a big adjustment for fans, same way VAR was, but I think it will also get rid of the biggest frustration of VAR, which comes to is the goal offsides or not, because we'll know immediately.
that'll be huge.
So, like, you're not going to that referee in the back room looking at the angles. Like,
Nope. So
he's going to like
essentially,
triangulate into like one certain
Mm-hmm.
line
So
of
think
sight?
about the same way that the goal line technology works, where once the ball crosses, the ref gets a little buzzer. So when a play is under review, it goes upstairs. They can pull to that moment, and it tells them right then and there. There's no drawing of lines. They just rewind to the moment that the ball was kicked. Boom, it creates the image, tells them if the player is offsides or not.
So hypothetically, let's say McAllister rifles 100-mile-an-hour shot and it just knocks the technology out of the ball. Then what are we doing?
That I don't know.
We
I don't
celebrate
know.
And let's say he dings like the crossbar, right? And the technology just stops working. What are we just going to
So
just
it's
go
not.
back to VAR?
My understanding is it's not a chip in the ball. It's sensors around the stadium that track everything on the field and 3D image it in real time.
And who's paying for that?
So that was why it took so long to implement, because it was part of, my understanding is, the Premier League investment that each club gets. And usually clubs have discretion as to how to spend the money they get back from the Premier League for their place every year. This time they were required, and they're requiring the leagues, the teams that could come up, you have to have this technology in place in your stadium to play in the Premier League. So I believe this was initially proposed 2 years ago, and they've given clubs 2 years to get ready for it. I don't love that it's coming in at the tail end of the season. I'm very happy that Liverpool has a comfortable lead and it's not a 2-point race, and all of a sudden new technology is getting introduced. Because, I will fully admit I was someone who thought VAR was going to be a benefit to the game, and I think overall it definitely has, but there are some major pain points that have not been worked out that should have been by now. And I remember the Liverpool Tottenham game. Doesn't matter how good the technology is, human error happens. So people are always going to find a gripe, but in the games that I've seen it used, it has saved a ton of time, because it's making the calls that are really close. With a player running in behind, ball is in the back of the net, ref has an answer within 20 seconds. We're not sitting there drawing lines for 5-6 minutes. Players are essentially getting a halftime because the ref can't figure out, well, do I use this angle or this angle? Is the line straight here or here? Well, let's look at the cut of the grass. Oh no, they didn't do a checkered pattern. They did circles on this field. And now it's like their VAR could have been implemented so much better and had been such a better system, but I feel like they government contracted. It was a program sold to the lowest bidder, and they just didn't do the best job. If they had more cameras, every 5 yards down the field, strictly for VAR, they don't need to be high def, TV cameras, but every 5-10 yards, so that you have multiple options to get your straight shot across the field. But no, we rely on, I think it's end line, halfway up the field, halfway, the half line, halfway down that half, and then the end line again. That's not enough. You should almost have every single a camera down every single one of the cuts in the line of grass.
So is this only at the top level? Like, are they doing this in the championship?
I
The
don't
first
believe this
level, the
is in the
second level?
championship yet. I believe the championship is moving to it, but again, it's about, they're working to implement it in a way where it's not going to be a financial burden to a small club coming up. Because, perfect example, Wrexham. Wrexham makes this jump. This technology is not cheap. It's got to be a couple $1 million to put in. We're talking about Wrexham just put a couple $1 million into a stadium just to get ready for League One. Where are they now? Now that investment conversation comes back, and you gotta. Let me put it this way: if it doesn't work perfectly for the rest of the year, and God forbid, the championship places, how tight they are. Imagine being a team that doesn't make Champions League and you're knocked down into Europa because of a decision where this technology didn't work properly. Imagine being Newcastle and losing out on that position because new technology at the very end of the season is implemented and it
Yeah,
doesn't work.
VAR was a little rough in the beginning. It was a little rough.
That's my biggest fear with them doing it right now. I would have waited to the beginning of next season.
I would have waited till preseason.
Yeah, exactly.
Preseason would have been fine.
Yeah, like why do it now? Like there's like John, you just said it. There's
too much.
And we're going to talk about it in a bit, but there's too much on the line. And now it's been confirmed the other day. You know, you asked me about this on, I think, Sunday night or Monday, whatever, when we were texting about who's getting the fifth, you know, what league is getting that fifth spot. And it's been confirmed now that England's getting that fifth spot. So now it's going to make these last 7 games in the Premiership even crazier.
Bloodbath, dude. I think it's going to be a bloodbath.
So, like, it blows my mind that why would you want to just drop this in at the end of a season? And if you have kinks to work out and you can screw a club, you know how much money you two know how much money we're talking about Champions League places cost. Not only is it monetary, but it's getting players that would want to come and play for your club.
Yeah, a lot of clubs rely on that too. Sometimes they put that in the books just a little too early, and then next thing you know, it really hurts them.
And I mean, I'm looking at the table right now. There are 6 points between 4th place and 9th place. There is a lot to play for. And now, given it does look like, you know, you could be in 9th place and get Europe now that we have that 5th spot for the EPL. But there's a big difference between Conference League and Champions League.
Yeah,
and especially looking at some of the teams that are competing here. I mean, you could even drop it down to Bournemouth and expand it to 8 points. Imagine Bournemouth making a run and getting into the Champions League. What that money would mean to them. And if this doesn't come in, and if any one of these teams I just don't. Why do it mid-season? Just why?
Yeah, there's a lot because it's place of 3, 4, 5, and 6 right now. It just looks like it's a huge battle, right? At that moment, like really super tight. And right now, a loss is huge to them. So, but like you said earlier today, Matt, I'm like, if that technology does not work good, oh man, and it messes up a team potentially not getting in there. Oh man, that is going to be on every single talking point for every single show for like till the end of the season.
Right. So look at in that battle right there, right? When we're looking at this table, the most noticeable team in the table, right? In this battle, Man City.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if they miss out on Champions League because of this technology and the backlash and the craziness that's gonna happen?
I could tell you exactly what will happen. All charges are dropped.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
that's how they would make up for it.
That's our apology. We're so sorry.
But yeah, no, I mean, you have massive clubs like Chelsea, Man City. I mean, say what you want about Newcastle, where they've been over the last 2 decades or so.
Massive club.
Yeah, fan base wise, 300,000+ people showed up to that parade.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely massive. That's amazing. Like, credit to them. They outplayed us that day, and that was a well-deserved trophy parade. And then they bounced back and got another win on after it. So like they didn't have the trophy hangover. Good for them. They know that there's still Champions League to fight for, and right now they have one of the positions.
Yeah, I don't. What I really like about this season, outside of us, of course, being on top of the table, is Nottingham Forest.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? Yeah. And listen, I don't see them relinquishing that 3rd spot.
No, those players in Nuno want it, man. They do. They want it, and I'm happy for them.
I'm gonna go out and say this, and I can't believe I'm doing this on camera. I think it is more likely for Arsenal to lose 3rd or lose 2nd to Nottingham Forest than it is for us to lose first to Arsenal, just
I can
on
see that.
form and how good Nottingham have been this season. And Arsenal's got their head turned right now. They just
Walloped.
wow. First off,
Walloped.
Declan Rice,
Walloped.
take a bow.
Yeah.
That is the first free kick he had ever scored in his professional career. Was that first one that he whips around the wall, Roberto Carlos-esque. And then he one-ups himself and goes, wait, where's the top corner? Oh, right there.
Same one. The
I
same
mean,
one.
That second one was it touched the crossbar and the post on the way in. That was unbelievable. And honestly, if it wasn't for, I think Alaba had a clearance off the line, Jude Bellingham had a clearance off the line,
Yeah.
Courtois had 2 or 3 double and triple saves. I mean, it could have been 5-6.
Well, Bellingham said it best. He goes, "We were lucky it was only 3-0."
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he knew they got outplayed. He knew they got outplayed.
There's a great picture of Rice's second goal, and it's Bellingham just looking at him celebrating, and his face just says, "You don't do that." Like
Mm.
you can see that he's like, "I've trained with you. You don't do that." And even Declan Rice was saying, he was like, first one, the chance to put it around the wall was there. I went for it. It went in. Second one was just pure confidence. And
Oh, yeah.
wow. I mean,
All right,
we've
so
seen crazy goals.
let me ask both of you this, and I think your answer will be the same as mine. But just because Arsenal won 3-0, would you at all be surprised if Real turned around and won this?
No.
I'm sorry, Henry. I'm gonna answer this for you. Remember when Barcelona won 3-0?
Yeah.
It's not over.
It's not over.
Not by a
Not
long
at
shot.
all. Not
First
at
off,
all.
you're talking about the elite
And the
of Europe.
Bernabeu.
I'm sorry, I hate them. If it wasn't for Real Madrid, Liverpool would have 3 more trophies, but could be even more if you talk about quarterfinal knockouts. But like, it's Real Madrid. They find a way at the
Exactly.
Bernabeu. And Arsenal, they've been so solid defensively this year. The question was always, could they score goals? You went and you got your goals. But if you let up one, do you crack?
Mm.
And I don't trust this Arsenal side when they are put under pressure.
Oh yeah, mentality monsters definitely not this season. Last year, yes.
And
This
I
season, no.
don't trust the gaffer.
Oh really?
I think Arteta's a little too hot on the collar. I think he rushes a little bit. When on games he should control, where the pressure is off and it's a normal league game, it's a cup tie, whatever. He is very good. He's a very intelligent. I mean, remember when he was playing, the intelligence was never in question. But in his career, we've seen some questionable decisions in big moments that have cost them. And I mean, at the Bernabeu, that crowd whistling down on you, is he gonna hold?
All right, so Henry, answer me this. What do you think Arteta does? What's his game plan for the second leg?
For me, what is the difference between this year and last year for the seasons is that he was really good at his substitutions last season, like really good, and he knew which ones the players to pick, knew how to put them on there. I mean, that's why they were called mentality monsters last year. This season alone, it's been questionable decisions, a little bit of arrogance, I think sometimes. Like he's still starting the same people. Like again, Saka, you've been warned many times, dude. You need to give this kid a break, and you use him every single game at the start, and you tire
Well,
him
I
out.
mean, you look at how he played, and you sit there and
Yeah.
go, "How do you not play him?" I
How do
mean,
you not?
sure, Declan Rice scored 2 worldies, but Saka was everything. Both fouls were on Saka.
But
So
time
Everything.
management could be an issue with him, and
And
again,
he
like
just came
John's
back from injury not that long ago.
exactly, and like John said, is like, will he make questionable decisions? And I
right,
think if
right.
pressure happens, he might.
So tactically, he's got his 3 goals in the bag, right? He's
Yeah.
got the goals that he needs. But now is he going to sit there and put
Can't.
the entire team behind the ball for the entire 90 minutes, because if he does that, I feel like Real Madrid is just going to gallop and steamroll through them. Like, I think Arsenal's going to come out, pedal to the metal, right?
I will say something that John usually does, and he says in some things: pull out your inner Mourinho and park that bus. Park that bus. I know
I'm
it's
gonna actually
annoying.
go against. I'm gonna go against you this time. Normally, I would say that.
I
You
wouldn't
got
at
it
the
there.
Bernabeu.
But here's the thing, though, and I think it's not going to be Arteta that's going to have to change because he's got the lead. I think he will tactically. He'll probably, Partey will probably sit a little deeper and not break forward with Rice. Rice might not have as much license to roam forward. He might sit in more of a natural six, only Odegaard under the front. But I think the bigger thing is I don't think we see Luka Modric because they were just running around him. Arsenal was too fast for him. He's
Oh yeah, Luka,
brilliant
no.
on the ball. He's absolutely brilliant on the ball. He's a Ballon d'Or winner. Well, of course, everyone knows that. But they were able to dribble past him and pass around him because his legs just aren't there. And Madrid didn't have the possession like they usually do. Now, at home, that could be a totally different thing, especially if Arsenal do sit back and park the bus and you allow a Luka Modric to just sit there and spray the ball to a Vinicius Jr., to an Mbappe, to Rodrigo. Like, now you're just asking for trouble. So, no, I think you adjust your midfield tactics a little bit, play more of a triangle with Odegaard floating behind the front line, Declan and Partey sit a little closer to the back line. Maybe you don't send the wing back forwards as much, but you still have to be aggressive. You still have to control the ball because, Matt, exactly what you said. If you allow Real Madrid to just come at you, they'll put five past you.
I would take one caveat though: take out Odegaard and put in Trossard. Save Odegaard for the last.
You can't go
like, 20
save. You
minutes.
can't go saving players yet. You're not there. You're not across the finish line. You can't have your hands up at the 80-meter mark.
I know, but you know what, John? I'm not totally against that, Henry. I'm not totally against that.
They have a week. They have a game this weekend. That's the only thing I'm thinking about.
Oh, this weekend I'm resting everyone.
Yeah, and this weekend.
And I know I'm saying this as a Liverpool fan, but the league's gone. I'm resting everyone. I got eyes on the prize because, like, also Arsenal, you have the Invincibles, you have Premier League titles, Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that, but Nottingham Forest will come eat your lunch and take second place if you're not careful. They can sing that, and I think Arsenal should be all in on Champions League because, especially looking at where they are, they have a very, very good chance of at least getting to the final the way they're playing this year and the position they're in after this first leg. Don't throw it away.
But wouldn't you think also, like how we all agree about Arteta's attitude? I don't think he might. And how he feels.
I
know what I'm
hope he's
saying?
not. I hope he's not too prideful
But
to keep fighting for the Premier League. Like, and again, I'm not saying play the U12s, but rotate. Saka should not play at all.
Absolutely not.
No.
Declan Rice probably shouldn't play
He
this
needs a break.
weekend, or maybe only 60 minutes. Odegaard maybe one half or nothing. This weekend would be great to let Trossard run the show.
He has
honestly, he'll go out and bag a hat trick this weekend the way he's playing.
Yeah, he has to.
But yeah, you got to protect your main players because Arsenal are lucky to be where they are considering some of the injuries they've had this year. I mean, you had Saka out for months. You just lost one of your best defenders.
Odegaard in and out.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're still performing. That's a credit to the team. Don't throw away all the good you've done this year. You got a chance to walk away with a trophy. Not only a trophy, the cup with the big ears. Go out and get it.
Yeah, if you got Real on the ropes, you got to come out swinging, Mike Tyson style. And it's some perspective, right? So, like, I'm using that analogy as you guys just said, put everybody on the bench. They're playing Brentford. Hey, it is what it is. They're 12th in the table. Rest those guys so that when you go out and play in this second leg, they're all ready and steaming to go. I don't even think Arsenal's ever been to a CL final, have they?
That I don't know.
Even
Arsenal,
with the
Barcelona,
Invincibles, I don't
2000.
think they did.
Wasn't it Arsenal, Barcelona? Or was that a semifinal with Thierry Henry?
That I don't know.
I'd have to look back.
I'm
But
gonna have
yeah,
to. I'm gonna have to look that up after the show because I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm really,
Mhm.
really curious. And I don't know, like this round of the CL.
What would you guys think, actually, though? Whose weight is it on shoulders more, Arsenal or Real?
to take the initiative, I
Yeah.
think Arsenal have to take the initiative. We
Yeah,
know
man.
Real's going to come out swinging. They don't have a choice. So you got to go out there, and when they meet you in the middle of the ring and they throw that initial jab, you got to punch them in the face.
Yeah.
I think if Arsenal gets one, it's over.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
See,
we have
then I think the stadium turns on Real.
Yeah. And then you have to look at this weekend's games for Real for La Liga, because they're still trying to fight for top spot there too. So they have a few
Because
things
they
to fight
slipped up.
for. Yeah. They
Mhm.
have a lot of things to fight for, and they're going to want that. Also, Copa del Rey, right? At the end of the month.
Yeah,
Mhm.
against Parker.
Yeah, dude, they have a lot on their shoulders. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, all right, Real, you got a lot. You got a lot. And
Yep. But we
honestly,
know
that's
with Real Madrid, the expectation is the Champions League.
yep.
Oh,
The expectation there. It's the only
yes.
club in the world where it's the expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Champions League final or bust.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You could
pretty
win,
much.
you could win 4 of the trophies, and it's not good enough if you don't make the CL final and lift
Oh
that.
no. No. And their media is just so harsh on them. I know John, like, he listens to some Spanish stuff, but when he's asking me, he's like, "What are they talking about, dude?" They're just beraving Real Madrid. That fan base is cruel, dude. Cruel. They love you 1 minute, they hate you the next second.
Yeah, I was going to say that no club will lift you up higher, only to tear you down quicker.
Yeah.
To shift gears a little bit, I kind of threw it at you guys late, but we got about 10 minutes left. There's one thing I saw before we jumped on here. You know who they're talking about? They're talking about a certain someone from Bayern Munich coming back to the EPL, and which team would be the best fit for him? Give me the player, give me the team.
I really hope you're not talking about Harry Kane to Liverpool, because I have seen that rumor out there.
I saw it 20 minutes before we came on.
Ooh.
You know what's really crazy, though? With the progression with the deals with Mo and Verge, I would not be surprised news like this would come out, to be honest with you. I'm not. Run on the traction of what you're hearing with Mo and Big Verge, and then put everything else out there. I don't know how I feel about that, though.
Would
I really
Kane be on
don't.
a free, though? Is he a free agent, or
I don't think he's a free agent, but
then
I also don't think it's going to cost a ton. I don't like it myself. I just don't think he fits that squad. And everybody's talking about they need a true number 9. I don't know if
go get me Isak. Spend the money, go get Isak.
I would.
That's much better of the money.
So
Well
here's
spent.
how I'm going to justify this to myself, at least. And I know Liverpool's not going to listen to me, so don't balance your books off this. But you didn't have to go buy a Mo Salah replacement. From what I'm hearing, it's a 2-year contract, and he is taking a little bit of a price cut on his salary per week. So you're saving money and getting which should be $100 million player. Virgil van Dijk is doing similar. I don't know if he's taking the price cut, and he might be a 3-year contract. But again, you're saving yourself $60 million right there.
Wasn't there also
Go
bonuses?
take it. What was that?
Bonuses? Weren't there also bonuses for that? Like,
There's
you hit
definitely
this.
bonuses
Yeah.
in there, but like the fact that you don't have to buy a replacement, because they'd walk for free. There's no transfer fee coming in. They're out the door for free. So not having to replace them is essentially the same as having to spend that money. And now you're saving it. So go spend that money. You want a true number 9? One just beat you in the cup final. Go get Isak. I mean, again, I would love to see Newcastle in the Champions League. That fan base deserves it. But as a Liverpool fan, I'm hoping you don't make it so we can poach him. Because he's brilliant. He fits the mold. He reminds me of Harry Kane, but he's younger. He'll cost an arm and a leg right now because he is on fire and deserves every penny of it. But you can get him for the next, 5, 6, 7 years, as opposed to Harry Kane for 2 years. Like, is that our model right now? Because then we're just going to run into the same situation.
I don't even know if we'd get 2 years out of Kane.
I don't know either, if you want me to be honest with you. But, I mean, honestly, you went from one tough league to the next because, like, I watched the Bundesliga. It is a tough league. It is tough. It's very physical. And for him to play like that still and banging in goals that he is now, it's still actually, honestly, super impressive. Do I think we might get a better return of him coming in here and getting some goals for us? Absolutely, 100%. But I don't know if he, like you guys said, he can fit our style. I don't know.
I don't like it when these older guys leave and then then they're going to come back, and to John's point, he's going to be what, 31, 32? I'd rather splash the cash, go get the 25-year-old and get the next 6 years of him than a season or two of Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see the sex appeal in Harry Kane returning to England and coming to Liverpool.
Not only that, but what's Kane's wage going to be?
Yeah,
They'd have to be enormous, 350 a week plus. And like, keep in mind, it's not like we're a number 9 away. We need a creative midfielder. I love most of our midfield, but we're overplaying some of them. Some of them are too injury prone. We're going to need a left wing because no one knows what's going on with Diaz. Darwin, I love you, bro, but you're either going to be a very expensive bit part player or we're going to have to move on. I wish you the best. I mean, he obviously can get it done for Uruguay, but it just doesn't seem to work in the Premier League. He can't get out of his head for some reason. And you're probably going to need, I know, what's his name, Kirkaz from Bournemouth has been rumored to come in at left back because Andy Robinson's getting up there. He's definitely not and should not be pushed out by any means. He can still play, but he needs rotation, and thank God Tsimikas has stepped up this year. Connor Bradley's instantly just slots in at right back. No need to worry there, but you do need a backup. It's not going to cost you, Connor Bradley should cost a pretty penny on the market. So to have him already on the books, like I think people downplay Connor Bradley because he's behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is just a world-class player. I mean, he's a generational talent. But you got to remember, the kid's the captain of North Ireland. He's not a scrub. Like, he's in the team for a reason. And we've seen when he plays, he is very good. He gets up and down the wing. He gets balls into the box. Like, he will do a absolutely fine job. I'm not too worried about him stepping into that back line.
I'm not at all either.
I do worry about the PSG Konate rumors. That needs to get nipped in the bud real fast, because if Konate gets poached, Joe Gomez is right there, but we know his injury history.
Yeah.
And as good as he is, he gets injured a lot. And Kwanzaa is still a little young, little raw. And I'm sorry, but Endo, love the man. He'll play anywhere. The man just loves playing. And he does a great job in the back line. But you're not a central defender. That's not your position.
But do you really think Konate would leave for PSG?
That's a rough one because he's French and it's home.
I know
it's
he's
the biggest
French,
team.
but like, you're not going to do a PSG. I mean, maybe this year with Champions League, right? Who knows with the way that they've been playing in that tournament? But
it seems like it's a trend,
though. And they're looking for the guy who's going to step in for Marquinhos.
Yeah,
I'm up there.
Is a legitimate worry, to be honest with you, because a lot of French players usually go back. They do,
and they can splash the cash.
All right, so hey, slap $100 million on him.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
I would trade $100 million for him.
The one thing I am
for
excited
$100 million, we can go replace him.
Yeah. But the one thing I'm excited for is Bajcetic. I think him coming back might be really, really huge help. And he's killing it in La Liga. He's killing it, dude.
He could save us $40, $50 million if
and he's young.
If what I've seen, if he can translate that to the Premier League and it all comes together, he could be a real player.
Mm-hmm. A real relief in the midfield for us too. Like if some things are just not working, we need someone else that's creative. Man, will he be super useful for us too.
Especially because we need a backup for Gravenberch right now.
Oh, so badly.
And if he
Oh,
could fill that void, again, you're saving 30, 40, 50 million dollars with that.
Well, who's the? I can't remember the name, but there was that one defensive midfielder that they tried to get last summer, and he wouldn't.
Oh,
He wouldn't come.
from Villarreal, right?
Yeah.
Whatever his name was. He's still talked about right now. He might go to Arsenal, or from what I hear in the rumors too, Liverpool's still talking. Liverpool is still talking to his agent, but I don't know how true that is, though. I really don't know.
I'm sorry, no.
You said no. Yeah.
It's like a pretty girl. You get to ask her out once. She says no, leave her alone.
Yeah. So I don't know. Zubamendi.
Yes.
Zubamendi. That's what it was. So
But
yeah.
no, I think there's much bigger needs than bringing a player like Harry Kane in. Again, I think it's flashy, it's pressy. He'll probably score, he'll bang 20 goals in, but it's not building the team for the long term. And again, I think to your point, Matt, more than any of that, I don't see how he fits the system.
Feels like a band-aid.
Yeah. Well, and think about it, right? We're talking about re-signing these two. Verge, 33 years old. Mo, gonna be 33 years old, right? And some of the other areas in the pitch, Robo, he's getting up there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys, they're getting into their upper 20s, lower 30s. Why do we want to bring that in? Like, in my opinion, we don't need them.
Well, also, isn't the whole reason we got into this stupid situation with the Virgil and Mo contracts that, we don't sign players over 30?
Over
Right.
30.
So all of a sudden we're breaking the rule, but, for hopefully the Ballon d'Or winner and the best center back in the league. I understand who Harry Kane is. He's great, but no. Also, I don't want the Harry Kane curse. I like winning trophies.
Nah. That's pretty good.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, this hour's gone by quick. I appreciate both of you coming on to kick it.
Always a pleasure, man.
I'll talk to you guys off here later. Definitely have you guys come back on. Thanks for joining. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Follow us on Twitter, on Insta, and we'll check you all later. Have a good one.